Hey everybody, today we're going to take a look at one of the greatest motion pictures in the history of cinema. I kid you not. Sit down, relax, and enjoy. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. Okay, today we're taking a look at 1953's War of the Worlds, one of the greatest sci-fi classics of all times. Somehow this thing only has like a 7.2 on IMDb. I don't get that. This thing is legendary. Sit down, get ready for the trailer. As always, here we go.
This could be the beginning of the end for the human race. For what men first thought were meteors or the often ridiculed flying saucers are in reality the flaming vanguard of the invasion from Mars.
Looks like they're gonna come out of that gully pretty soon. We'll have to rush our defenses to be ready when they do.
The guard can need plenty of reinforcements.
We'll get them. Lieutenant, look!
They slash across country like scythes, wiping out everything that's trying to get away from them.
That explains why communication is cut the moment their machines begin moving.
Montreal's blacked out. Nothing more's come through.
Same thing that happened on the Pacific coast. Anything from them yet?
No, Mr. Secretary, we've had nothing from San Francisco for over 5 hours.
The nations of the world mobilize their armed might, rushing to defend the Earth against the unknown weapons of the super race from the Red Planet. Is there nothing that can stop the Martian death machines?
Guns, tanks, bombs, they're like toys against them.
We know now that we can't beat their machines. We've got to beat them.
All over the world, human beings cower before the onslaught of these unearthly enemies, whom no one has ever seen. Panic that sweeps around the globe as the great masses of mankind flee blindly in a headlong stampede of hysteria.
This motion picture was directed by Byron Haskin. Byron Haskin started out in the motion picture industry doing special effects and second unit work and a photographer, and then he eventually became a director. And he hooked up with legendary director-producer George Pal. And together they did several motion pictures. They did The Power, they did War of the Worlds, The Naked Jungle. He also went on to do things like Robinson Crusoe on Mars. He did a lot of TV work, but no matter what he does, he will always be remembered for giving us this piece of cinematic history. War of the World. Okay, playing Dr. Clayton Forrester was Gene Barré. Gene Barré, he made a lot of movies, but he's really going to always be remembered kind of as a television guy. You know what I mean? He made a lot of episodes of TV. But he will always be more remembered above all of it. Above, Our Miss Brooks and Popping Up on the Love Boat and The Adventurer. He will always be Bat Masterson on television. That was his character. That's who he will always be remembered as. If not War of the Worlds, playing Clayton Forrester, he'll always be remembered for that character. So, Gene Barré just passed away a few years ago. I got a little piece of trivia about him and Ann Robinson in a minute, but it's just, this is what his role will always be. Clayton Forrester. All right, let's keep going. Okay, playing Sylvia Van Buren was Ann Robinson. Now, Ann Robinson, her career is kind of like Gene Barry's. It's hugely based in television. She, of course, was in War of the Worlds, but all her TV career is where she really made her name. And the crazy thing is that she's still alive and going today in 2019. I mean, this woman's career is just immense. She actually popped up in the late 1980s, early 90s reboot of War of the Worlds, where it was a TV show. It was really kind of cheesy and bad, and had the guy from Predator in it and everything like that. And it was like, what the hell? But whatever. She's had an immensely long career. Incredibly pretty lady. She did a great job in this. And the fun fact of trivia I wanted to give you about Gene Barry and Ann Robinson is in the remake of War of the Worlds that was done by Steven Spielberg in I think 2005, 2006, whatever it was, they're the grandparents at the end of the movie. When you see that old couple standing on the porch at the end of the movie, that is the original couple from the original War of the Worlds, from the much better motion picture, by the way. Not that the Steven Spielberg one was bad, but it couldn't compete with the original. Let's keep it real. It's just the way it goes. All right, let's keep rolling. Okay, playing Major General Mann was Les Tremayne. Les Tremayne had a really, really long career in Hollywood. He was still going up until 2005, believe it or not. And keep in mind, this movie was from 1953, and he was no kid then. But he had a really long career in Hollywood. He was in stuff like War of the Worlds. He was in stuff like North by Northwest, The Fortune Cookie, The Story of Ruth. He actually even did some voice work and stuff later, like much later in his life. He was like on The Adventures of Johnny Quest and stuff like that, just doing voice work. So Les Tremayne, he had one of those faces where you would see it and you say, I've seen this dude before, but you don't really know where, because he was never really a leading man, but he did a great job in this. All right, those are like your three main characters. There's a bunch of other side actors I can get into, but let's just get to the story and cut to the quick. Okay, the story is this. Dr. Clayton Forrester is hanging out with his friends on a fishing expedition, and in a very close nearby town, a meteor lands. He goes to investigate it. The local town people go to investigate it. That's where he meets Sylvia Van Buren and her uncle, who happens to be a priest. And they all converge in this one area, and they're like looking at this incredible meteorite. Well, Dr. Clayton Forrester really doesn't know what to do that night while he's waiting for this thing to cool down to look at it. So he goes to the town. He stays with the father. He hangs out at this square dance that they got going on in town. He's hanging out with everybody. And that's the night that these little aliens decide to come out of this UFO. You see this thing slowly start to unscrew. There's a few local townspeople there watching this happen that were keeping an eye on the thing. And as they approach it, this magnificent looking cobra-like head appears and just blasts these people into nothingness. At that point, whether it's an EMP, who the hell knows what it's calling for, the entire town goes dark. Their watches stop, the electricity stops, the phone line stops, and all the compasses point directly to the place where the meteor landed. They all get up, they go out there to find that there's aliens, that they're not friendly, and all hell is going to break loose. I'm going to cut and make this short. The aliens have arrived from Mars, and they are systematically trying to take over the planet. They come down in meteors in groups of 3 to a meteor, and they're in triangular form all over the map, and they're stormtrooping across Paris and Berlin and America, and they're just trying to wipe everything clean to exterminate mankind off the planet. Their weapons are superior. Their craft are superior. They're not UFO spaceships like you would think. They actually walk around on 3 kind of electromagnetic legs that just kind of glide them, which was very close to the original story where they were just big mechanical robots walking on tripod legs. You can't hurt them because they got shielding power. They are invincible, and they are wiping mankind out all over the planet. Can mankind stop them? Can mankind come up with a way of defeating these evil aliens? We don't know. We're going to see. You're going to find out. All right, everybody, I'm just going to go right to the summation of this motion picture really quick. I love War of the Worlds. It's that classic type of motion picture set in Hollywood where the effects of this thing were so far ahead of its time, it was frightening. Yes, sometimes on the alien crafts, you can see the wires coming down and supporting them and pulling them over the set. But if you think of how this looked in 1953, this thing was amazing. Actually, if they went back and just removed some of the wire work, you could still have this movie set up today, and it would not look like it was some cornball cheesy flick. It would look completely like it was done in the modern era, mostly. You can tell, yes, a lot of this is set on sets. There's very few real location shots. This is a backlot movie. When they're in the woods, they're on a set. When they're in the city, they're on a set. There's very few, like, pickup unit shots where you see a car driving in real world. Most of this motion picture takes place on sets, but it looks amazing. It feels amazing. The acting is right on par. Yeah, it's 1950s type acting. Yeah, everybody's a little bit too, but it doesn't matter because it creates a tone and an environment. You feel the dread in these people, the amazement in these people, everything that's taking place as it's happening in this motion picture. It's well thought out. It's well directed, acted, written. The writing is incredible too. Yeah, you get to see the aliens in the motion picture. The makeup work on the aliens is incredible looking. The three-colored eye and the way that they moved. It was creepy. It was eerie. It was actually spooky to a degree. Everything that you would want in a UFO lands in your backyard, neighborhood, whatever type motion picture, War of the Worlds had. I cannot express to you enough that you should check this movie out. I don't care if you've seen the Tom Cruise one. I don't care what Cloverfields or whatever the hell modern thing that you've seen. You have to watch War of the Worlds to get an idea of where all that stuff came from and how it was done in such a stylistically perfect fashion in 1953, way before special effects ever entered the computer realm. Actually, I don't even know if they knew what the hell computers were in 1953. I'm just saying. Anyway, everybody, thank you. Take care. God bless. Have a good day. Love each other. Take care of each other. Peace.